Hello, this is Becky DeGrossa. I'm the CEO and founder of Counseling Wise, and today I'm going to be sharing with you smart blogging, how it can fill your practice. And this was actually a webinar that I was supposed to give this morning, and I had tech problems, believe it or not. Even me, I have tech problems. But anyway, I decided I'm so excited about the information that even though we couldn't get the webinar to work, I'm going to go ahead and do the webinar via video and send it to you. So the one thing I want to say is that if you have questions that come up during this video presentation, then feel free to type them in to the comments section that's at the bottom of this page. Well, depending on where you're watching it, okay? If you're watching it on our site, the comments are at the bottom of this page. If you're watching it on YouTube, you can ask questions there as well, and we'll answer them for you. So feel free to go ahead and type those in. So what I'm going to show you today is how to blog with confidence, all right? And what that includes is I'm going to show you how to choose topics to write about that will really pay off for you in your private practice. I'm going to show you how to write those topics in a very straightforward way without a bunch of second guessing and time wasting. I'm going to talk with you about how to categorize and tag those blog posts on your website the correct way. This is one of the biggest problems that people have. And I'm going to also show you how to promote them after you have written them, how to promote those blog posts. All right? So I want to encourage you to watch this whole video. This is going to be extremely dense in terms of information. It's not really a webinar anymore, it's just a video, but there's going to be tons of great information, and there's also going to be an offer at the end of this that I think you're going to absolutely love. People have been screaming for help with this, and better than that, there's going to be a better offer beyond that offer that you will love even more, something that we have never ever done before, and I think it'll be really interesting to see what happens, but I think you're really going to like that. So let's dive into blogging, okay? The big problem that most of us have with blogging is, first we question whether it even matters. Does it even make a difference? Should I put the time into this? Is it going to make any difference at all for me to work so hard? And then if we actually see the data here, and we're going to talk about some of that data today, then we may be convinced that it does matter. And so we think, okay, well, I'll do it. But then we run into the next roadblock. I don't know what to write about. I just don't know what to write about. In fact, I don't really have anything original to share. Like every therapist, whatever I'm going to write about, every therapist knows this already. So why would I stand out? How am I going to be any better? We psych ourselves out, basically. But let's say that we occasionally get inspired by something. Okay, maybe something happens in a session, and we're like, wow, that is really cool. I'm going to write about that. That would be really neat information for people to have. I want to share that, right? So we sit down and we start to write, and often we start to get a little lost in organizing our writing, and then these little doubts creep in about whether or not we really should be writing this, or whether it's going to really come out as well as we envisioned it might. And basically our doubts and our start-stop efforts soon squash our ability to generate the blog post at all. Okay, so does this sound familiar? Do you relate to this? If so, this webinar is for you. I relate to it because that has happened to me many, 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 many times, and I've heard from other therapists that this has happened to them as well. Okay, well, I'm going to give you a system today that's going to overcome this stuff, okay? And my hope is that by the time you finish watching this video, you will know what to do to consistently generate great blog posts for your website. All right? That is what my goal is with this video here. But you may be skeptical, okay? If you've struggled with blogging before, you know that this is a tough issue. If you've tried it many, many times, then you may be really skeptical. You may also just have some thought that is, hey, other people can do it, but I can't. They're journalism majors, they're marketing majors, they have a lot to say, they love to blah, 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 and I don't, so I can't do it. Well, I want to address that skepticism if that's what you're thinking. So let's get to it. We have seen many, many practices transformed with blogging, okay? And I'm going to walk you through some of these practices, just a few of them, just to give you a sense of what this can do for you. If these folks can do it, then I'm thinking you can do it too, okay? So you tell me. So first I'm going to talk about Jim. Jim is in Plano, Texas. He had already built 3 websites before he got this down right, okay? Then he finally changed his approach and he began blogging regularly. His site was set up for blogging finally in the correct way. And he began blogging regularly. Now he is off panels. He's not taking any insurance anymore, private pay only. He's also seeing half the clients and making more money. All right, he and his wife, they're seeing half the clients making more money. And Jim is now able to do some of the stuff he really loves, which is forensic work. Okay, so that's just one story. Melissa has a group practice in Ann Arbor, and she basically wrote this. I've had a tremendous surge in business through blogging and fine-tuning my website. I literally got so busy that I hired more therapists, doubled my office space, and still have therapists with waiting lists. Okay, so big difference there for her. April has become successful in a very competitive market, and it's mainly because her site keeps growing with blog posts. All right, these are rankings for her specialties, and you can see that she's doing really well. She's showing up very well on page 1, and mainly that is due to blogging. It's one thing to set up a site correctly. If it's a new site and it doesn't have a ton of content on it, then it is not going to rank that well, okay? That's just all there is to it. You can do good SEO, you can do all these things, but if you start blogging and adding more pages to your site, this is what happens. All right, and I'm going to show you a little bit of an example here. Here's another person in San Antonio. Lots of specialties. She's ranking really, really well on page 1 for her specialties. And I want to show you what that looks like, okay? So this graph is her rankings over time, starting in January of 2015 and going up through September of 2015. So for these terms, the terms up here, Anxiety Counseling San Antonio, you can see she was on page 2 at the beginning of the year, and then she popped up here barely to page 1, dipped down a little bit, higher on page 1. Okay, and then she's been on page 1 since April, and she just keeps going higher on page 1. Okay, same scenario over here for the term Depression Counseling San Antonio. Okay, so this is what happens with blogging over time. She had a very well built site. It was all, ready, but the only thing that really changed was blogging, okay? The only thing that really changed, her site was the same. Her specialty pages were the same, but more blog posts were added over time, and then her rankings grew. All right, so that is something that's really important to understand. Now, why does blogging help you rank higher? Well, in the therapy industry, no one has really done a detailed study, but in the medical marketing industry, there's a lot more money, and there have been studies done. And so I'm going to show you this. You could actually go to MD Web Pro. That is a website that builds, these folks build websites for plastic surgeons and other medical folks. And they did a study where they basically looked at they looked at the whole plastic surgery website industry, period, and identified the top 169 plastic surgery websites in the major U.S. metro areas, okay? And what they found was that out of these top ranked sites, they averaged 409 pages, okay? 169 sites averaged 409 pages. Now, the typical plastic surgery site is 30 to 40 pages long, okay? So, they may have a lot of specialty pages on different aspects of plastic surgery and that kind of thing, but anyone that is, this is average, so some of them are really small, right? 5 pages or something like that. Many of them maybe have some blog posts, but the folks who really are blogging and have a lot of pages, they did really, really well, okay? Now, this is this image is the plastic surgery sites in Houston, and this is page 1. And so you can just see that, there's certain directory listings, those were taken out. They were outliers. But the top 4 sites averaged 335 pages outside of that outlier. All right. Now you may wonder, is the same thing true for therapists? Does this really apply? So I did a search for Psychotherapist Boulder, Again, I remove the outliers, the big directory sites like Psychology Today and that type of thing. The top 10 pages averaged 139 pages. Okay, the top 10 results averaged 139 pages. The next 10 websites averaged 94 pages, and then the next 10 beyond that averaged 63. So what you're seeing here is obviously the trend, right? That the more pages you have on your website, the higher your site is going to rank. Okay, and you could put in all sorts of different terms and you could do this study and you're going to see this. So it is a definite factor in terms of ranking. It helps your whole site rank better. And so that is one of the reasons that we want to see you blogging more. Now, blogging actually helps you in 3 ways. The most important way is that you can have a very strong impact on your potential client, okay, through blogging. And I'm going to walk you through an example of that here in a second. The next reason is because, just as I showed you, more pages equals higher rankings overall, and therefore, higher rankings leads to more traffic, more phone calls, etc., more clients ultimately, right? So I already walked you through the data on that. The third reason is that blog posts in and of themselves bring more traffic, okay? They will bring very specific traffic, people who are looking for certain things, and I'm going to actually walk you through that example here right now. All right, so let's just kind of get ourselves in the mind of a potential client, and I'm going to walk you through an experience. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to really slow it down because I want you to really understand how this works. Okay, we all do things so quickly that we don't slow it down enough and really understand what's happening. And so with this, we're going to slow it down and see what's really going to take place. So I want you to imagine that you're a woman in Boulder and you notice yourself having a startle response, okay? You just notice this happening more and more often, and you start to wonder if you have PTSD. You've heard about this thing called PTSD. You're noticing that you're kind of jumpy and startly, if that's a word. And this thing called PTSD affects veterans, but you're not a veteran, okay? And you're just kind of curious about it. You've never had a quote-unquote big trauma that you know of, and so you're just really wondering what's going on with you. Why is this that you're so jumpy? Why are you startling? Okay, so you go to, now remember you're in Boulder, all right? So you go to Google and you type in common PTSD symptoms in women because you're really wondering what is going on. Is this something that you have? All right, so here's the search page that comes up when you type that in. Now, I'm going to take you through this slowly, and I want you to consider that you're really this person in this situation and you're looking. So you look at the top result here, okay, and I have this big old cursor here so I can walk you through this. You look at this top result here, and it's like, okay, so this is the VA, and that's probably going to talk more about, combat PTSD and that type of thing. Okay. Now you go down, the next result is, and of course these are huge sites that are ranking, right? But this next one is about sexual assault. So that's not, that's not been part of your experience, so you skip over that one. You go down here, this is a new thing that Google is displaying these days. People also ask, yada yada, right? And so how many people have this, and what type of disorder is it? What is not a symptom of it? We're really looking for common symptoms for women, right? Soldiers, okay, so that doesn't apply. So now we're going to go down to this next one, okay? The next one is, what is PTSD? Well, it's talking about women and rape, sexual molestation. Okay, well, that's not you either. Finally, we get down to result number 5, okay? And this is really how people look through the results, right? They're looking for something that applies to them. You get down to number 5 and look, most common symptoms of PTSD in women. And wow, this is a Boulder site. That's interesting. PTSD symptoms in women tend to manifest themselves in several distinct ways. Recognizing the symptoms is the first healthy step to getting whatever, okay? So that is kind of interesting, right? Finally, after all this stuff that has to do with veterans and sexual assault and all these other things, you finally find something that's really what you're looking for. And guess what? They're in Boulder. So this person clicks through to this result here, okay? and they come to this page. And this is what? It's a blog post, all right? Identifying the 5 most common PTSD symptoms in women. It's a blog post, all right? Written 6 months ago. So you start reading this, and this is kind of spot on, huh? You know, are you a woman suffering the lingering effects? You know, you want to be aware of unresolved trauma and how it keeps you down, and it just keeps going, okay? Look at this, hyperarousal. You're jittery and jumpy. Your body is always tense and alert. Oh, that sounds like me, okay? So you keep reading down. Now, this is, you know, of course, I don't have enough room to show you the whole page here, but you keep reading down, and you get to the bottom about the author. April Lyons is a somatic psychotherapist, owns a practice in Boulder, yada, yada, yada. Click here to learn more about PTSD treatment and my practice in Boulder, Colorado. Okay, click, right? So what happens there? The end of the blog post has this call to action. I click there, and now I go to her PTSD treatment page, okay? So this is really talking about how she works with people. And not only that, but she has a free report that if I'm too afraid, which is often the case with folks, of reaching out to April right away, I could download this free report here and get to know more about her practice, about PTSD, all this good stuff. Okay, so I'm reading this page. Now further down the page, you know, I'm reading. Over here, she has recent PTSD treatment posts. Okay, and there's a whole bunch of them here. Okay, and in fact, that page, that part looks like this. There's actually 10 posts on PTSD filled out here on her page. And I could click to any of them. And in fact, look, there's the one that I came in on, is this one right here. But maybe I'm interested in the 4 most common treatments. Right now, I read her page and I'm thinking, that might be me. And so, you know, there's other things here that are really going to call to me. And I'm most likely going to click around and stay here and read more about it. And what's my impression? Okay, I'm at this page. There's 10 blog posts on this. That is a lot of information on PTSD, right? This woman seems to really be an expert. Isn't that what you would think, right? This person seems to be an expert. She's right here in Boulder. This is pretty neat, okay? So the big question is, how can you create this experience, this potential client experience for your practice so that you can use blog posts to attract people to your website, have them see that you have a ton more blog posts on their topic and on their topic of interest, their problem, and you know, you can really pull them in that way. Well, there's a proven 6-step process that we use for blogging, and I'm going to tell you now that it's really best to schedule it into your week each day at the same time. You know, maybe Tuesdays from 2 to 4, you're going to do this. Whatever it is, make a commitment to it, whatever time works for you, and you're going to be able to do this, okay? You're going to be able to create this. It will have a huge payoff over time, all right? We've already talked about how it can pay off for you. So the first step, and this is one that you only have to do once, is to just make sure that your website is set up correctly for really good blogging, okay? And I'm going to go into the details of all these steps here in a second. But you want to make sure that your website's set up correctly. Then you're going to have this process of 5 steps that you're going to do over and over, hopefully once a week, all right? Now, if you can't do it once a week, you can only do it twice a month, that's okay. That's much better than nothing. Even if you can only do it once a month, that's okay. But these 5 steps are the steps that you're going to repeat. So first, you're going to determine a blog topic and a focus keyword. And again, I'm going to walk through all of this. You're going to write and categorize or tag your post. You're going to optimize your post on your website. You're going to promote the blog posts, and then you're going to monitor your results. And then the next week or the next month or whatever it is, you're going to determine the blog topic again. You're going to write it. You're going to optimize it, promote it, monitor the results. Okay? And this is how April grew her site to have 10 blog posts on PTSD and numerous blog posts for her other specialties as well. This is how people do it. All right? They just keep going and they dedicate themselves to this. So let's talk about step number 1. Make sure your website is set up correctly. what you really want to have is a built-in blog. And that pretty much requires that you have something called a content management system, or a CMS, content management system. WordPress is one, Squarespace is one. There's other content management systems as well. And we think that WordPress and Squarespace are the best two. But there's also Drupal and Joomla, which are more expensive, a little more confusing systems that are really built well, though, too. And then there's some other ones that aren't as good. Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit more. Categories. You want to make sure that you have the correct number and the correct named categories set up on your website. You want them, if you can, to correlate with your specialties. Sometimes I see people with 1 million categories. You really want to use categories sparingly, okay, and tags. You really don't want to have more than 3 to 7 categories total on your site. It just gets too confusing for people. They can't navigate and find what they want. So 3 to 7, and no more than 1 to 2 per post. So for instance, I'm going to give you an example here where I'm going to actually do some keyword research, and I'm going to figure out a blog post that I'm going to write and a focus keyword, and I'll talk to you about categories at that point. So that's step number 1. Step number 2 is to actually determine what your blog topic is going to be and what your focus keyword is going to be. Okay, so how do you determine what you're going to write about? Well, the easiest way, in the beginning especially, is to think about frequently asked questions. What do your clients ask when they first come in, or even during a phone consult when they're concerned about an issue? What do they ask? What are those frequently asked questions that people always want answers to? So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to do some keyword research and look at what people are searching for in Google. That's a very, very good indication of what you should be writing about, because they'll give you all the data on how many people are searching for answers for these things. And if you have those answers in your market, then you're going to be the person they come to, okay? So here's an example of that. Let's say that you see people with mood disorders, okay? And because of that, you know that one of the frequently asked questions that people have is, how do I know if I'm depressed or if I have bipolar, right? How do I know what the difference is here? You're just going to know that if this is something that you do, okay? Keyword research. The other thing that you can do is, let's say that I have this idea that, well, that would probably be a good thing to write about. So now I'm going to go do some keyword research, and I'm going to go to the Google Keyword Planner to do that. By the way, you can just Google Keyword Planner in order to find this, okay? You do have to have an AdWords account, but it's free. You don't have to be spending any money on AdWords to get to this. So the Keyword Planner, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, the keywords that I'm interested in are like depression versus bipolar, the difference between depression and bipolar. I put down something else, but this window doesn't show it either. I think I put down symptoms of depression versus bipolar or something like that, okay? And then I'm gonna click that saying get keywords. I'm going to come to this next page, and instead of, it's going to default to the ad group ideas, you always want to click the keyword ideas to see those. So here's those 3 things I typed in: difference between depression and bipolar, depression versus bipolar, and symptoms of depression versus bipolar. And then, so those are just the ones I typed in, but Google is also going to give me a whole bunch of different ones. And this goes down, I don't know, they gave me like, 150 things, something like that, 150 words. Now I'm going to look at them, and they're in order of relevance. They're in order of relevance. So I can see right here that, well, this one has 320 average monthly searches, and it's low competition. This one only has 30, so I probably don't want to do that. This one doesn't have any reported volume at all. Down here, this is difference between depression and bipolar depression. It's only 70. Difference between anxiety and depression, that's not really what I'm looking for. That's a high volume search. That might be something to write about later, right? And then, we just keep going, and it gives us all these volumes. So given what I had, what I'm going to choose is the keyword difference between depression and bipolar, because it has 320 and it's a low, and that's pretty good. All right. So that is going to be my focus keyword for this blog post. Difference between depression and bipolar. To start with, when you start blogging, unless you have tons of blog posts and a high authority site already, which you will build over time if you keep blogging, I would suggest that you start by choosing 3 to 5 word terms, right? Difference between depression and bipolar. That's 5 words right there. So I would suggest that you start with that, with those types of terms that have low competition, because you're going to have a chance of ranking for those that way, okay? And then what we want to do next, now that we have our focus keyword, is we want to create and categorize our blog post. So there's many titles that we could think of that have the difference between depression and bipolar in them, right? We could have a title that says, "Are you wondering the difference between depression and bipolar?" We could have another one that says, "Are you unsure the difference between depression and bipolar?" We could have another blog title that is just, "What is the difference between depression and bipolar?" Okay, so title or headline creation or whatever, that is art in and of itself. But the idea is to use your focus keyword exactly in your title. Okay, and I'll get more into SEO for blog posts, how you optimize them as we continue here. But that is the title that I could use. Now, for the body of the post, I'm going to write it using 600 words minimum. Okay, the more words, the better. The lengthier the blog post, not only the more information you're providing, but the higher your chances of ranking. So I'm going to use at least 600 words. I'm going to write it as if I were talking to my potential client. I'm going to include at least one photo, and the reason we want to use a photo is that not only helps readability of the blog post, it can illustrate emotional tone of things, but also if we then go promote on social media, it will pull that photo in, and our promotion will be showing up in Facebook and different places with a photo. So that's why we want to use a photo. We're also going to categorize this blog post. Now, in this case, depending on what my specialties are in my website, I may have a category for depression, category for bipolar. I could put this in both of those categories if I have them. If I only have depression and anxiety treatment and couples therapy, for instance, on my site, I would just categorize this one in depression, okay, in depression treatment. There's no obvious tag here. So categories, in my world, categories correlate to specialties, and tags would correlate to something more specific. So for instance, if I were writing about the difference between depression and bipolar in teens, I may have a tag called teens, right? Or in women, I may have a tag called women. So that's one of the ways that you can do it. You can have your categories represent issues or specialties and have tags represent populations. That's one way that you can do it, but there's all sorts of different ways to do this. What you want to make sure of is that you don't over-categorize or over-tag. So only use 1 to 2 categories max on every blog post, 1 to 2 tags max. Otherwise, it's not helpful for people if you include 19 tags for this category. It doesn't help them navigate your site. All right, so now we're going to talk about types of blog posts that we could be writing while we're writing it. There's an instructional one where we're going to tell someone how to do something. There's an informational one. This would most likely be informational, right? We're going to provide solid information on what the difference is between depression and bipolar. Reviews. You can write reviews. People search on reviews of things all the time, books, movies, treatments, modalities. You could even, there could be a movie, right, or a book, and you could say review of, whatever movie. Great example of the difference between depression and bipolar, okay? So you could still use your keywords, but you can write different types of blog posts. Lists, very popular with readers. Another, even here you could say the 4 main differences between depression and bipolar, all right? Interviews, you could interview somebody, a book author or another therapist, or have someone interview you. And it could be, interview with mood disorder specialist, the differences between depression and bipolar. So there's all sorts of things that you can do, just, still focusing on one focus keyword. Case studies, same thing, you could do that. And then link posts. Link posts are typically, hey, here's some great information on, 5 great articles on this, whatever this topic is. You would include the links to all these places and give context as to why you think these sources are good. Problem posts, i.e. the problem with treating depression with medication only. This isn't really the best. It could be the different, problems with misdiagnosis, the differences between depression and bipolar, okay? You could contrast 2 options. It would be similar to review posts, but a wider in focus. So contrasting 2 books, contrasting 2 movies, contrasting 2 modalities for treating these things. So you could do that kind of a post, all right? All right, so once we have written the post, we have 600 words only, we have our title created. We're going to optimize the blog post at this point. So what we're going to do to optimize it is we're going to use the focus keyword in the title, just like I showed you. We're going to also use the focus keyword in the body of the post a couple of times. Now, especially in blogging, you have longer, what are called long tail keywords, okay? And those are the keywords that are 3 to 5 words long. So you don't want to overuse that in the blog post, right? If I kept saying, you may be wondering what the differences are between depression and bipolar. So in this blog post, I'm going to tell you about the differences between, you just don't want to do that. You don't want to overuse it. So use it very sparingly in a blog post. Just a couple of times is fine. And if you write naturally, you will automatically use synonyms so that Google will know what this is about, and it will read naturally for your reader, okay? So, as you're writing this blog post, you're going to go ahead and say one of the main differences is yada, yada, yada. You will find that in depression, blah, 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 and in bipolar, blah, blah, blah. And Google reads all of this and they go, oh, yeah, you're talking about the difference, I see. So just write naturally. Use the focus keyword in the URL of the blog post. So let's say that your site is called, whatever, Therapy in Houston. Then your URL should say therapyinhouston.com/differences between depression and bipolar. Okay? You should have the focus keyword in the title. You could say /blog and then that. Focus keyword in the meta title and description as well. So in SEO, there's 2 main fields in the back end that you need to fill in. And those are called the meta title and the description. And the meta title shows up in Google in the blue in the search results. And the meta description shows up, those 2 lines right under the title in the search results. So you want to make sure that you use your focus keyword both places there. Finally, you want to optimize your photo around the focus keyword. So if you have a picture, maybe you have a picture of a depressed person and a manic person or whatever. You may have those up there, and you can name the file, differences between depression and bipolar. And then when you upload it, you're going to change the alt text for the image to contain that keyword as well. Okay, the next step number 5, we're going to promote the blog post. So the first thing that we're going to do, now if your site is set up correctly, you're building an email list, right? And hopefully you're building an email list for each specialty, a separate list. So in that example of April Lyon's site on her PTSD treatment page, you saw that she had a free report there where someone could download that free report, and that is building a list of people who are interested in PTSD in her case, okay? She also has a report on her child therapy page. She also has a report on her eating disorders page, and each one of those reports enable her to build a separate list for people interested in that topic. All right, so you should have those lists, and the first thing you do anytime you have a blog post is you send it out to your list, the relevant list, the appropriate list, okay? Then you can also take that blog post and post it on social media, like on your Facebook page, your LinkedIn profile, whatever, your Google Plus page. You can share it with people you want to network with. So let's say that there's a physician or other therapists who don't specialize in what you specialize in. You can share it with them and say, hey, I just wanted you to know about this blog post I just wrote. This might be of interest to your clients. All right. There's many other promotion options. I can't cover all of them here, but those are just some of them that we do routinely, and we can talk about how you can find other promotions too. Promotion options. Now, the final step is to monitor your results. So what you can do is you can check Google Analytics and see if your traffic is increasing. One thing about this, you should be looking at Google Analytics every month, and if you have Google Analytics and your Webmaster Tools account linked, you're going to be able to see what keywords are driving traffic to your site. Okay, and so that is something that you definitely want to check. You want to check social media engagement. Are people liking your posts? Are they sharing them? Are they commenting on them? Really check that to see if it's working. When you check those things, you're going to be able to start to get the type of titles and content that people respond to. And then you're going to be able to write more of those type. There's going to be some that are duds. There just will be, okay? Some will be duds. No one will interact with them. Other ones you'll go, whoa, people really like that. Look at that. And then you'll know to write more of those, okay? Check email open rates. You also want to do that. So if you're sending emails out to your list, then you're going to be able to see how many people are opening them. The open rate is highly conditional on the title, which is going to be in the subject line of your email, okay? So if April is sending her list of PTSD interested folks something on, PTSD, she's going to go, oh, wow. So this one that just talked about the symptoms or hyperarousal or whatever, no one opened that up too much. But look at this over here when I start talking about treatment, or when I start talking about living with PTSD, people open that one a lot. Okay, all right, so that's helpful. Now I know what they're most interested in. So that is something that you want to check as well as you go forward. Finally, you want to check your own consistency. Are you writing each week? Do you need an accountability partner? What do you need to do? Do you need to block it out on your calendar and, just guard that time like it was, gospel? What do you need to do to really make this happen? So you need to be checking with yourself on that. So those are the 6 steps. Again, the first step with setting the website correctly, you only have to do that one time. And then beyond that, you're going to do those 5 steps, hopefully every week. If not every week, hopefully twice a month or once a month. All right? Now, obviously, there's a lot of details here that I shared, right? A lot of details, and I didn't even get into all of it because I don't have time to get into it, okay? Obviously, in an hour time slot, I don't have time to go through other topic and keyword research methods that we use, how we write really, really strong headlines, okay? We have some tools that help us do that. I haven't been able to walk you through actually optimizing a blog post and showing you that step by step how to do it. I've talked to all the pieces, but a lot of people do much better if they can see someone do it. Okay? I haven't been able to tell you about all the neat places to find great photos, really efficient and new cool ways of promoting your blog post. There's some really fun stuff out there now. And I haven't been able to talk with you about how we set up our blogging plans, where we do keyword research basically like once, and then we have maybe 100 blog posts listed there with focused keywords that we can write, and how we track what's happening and how they're ranking and all of that in a blogging plan. Okay, just don't have time to do all that. But if you really get how important blogging is, and you really want to start doing this without any confusion, and doing it consistently, and really get the payoff of the smart blogging brings, this is where I'm going to tell you about the offer, okay? So I want you to check out our brand new course called Blogging for Therapists, the complete course. It is pretty awesome here. We are really excited about it, and I'm going to walk you through the details, okay? So there's an introduction module, how to navigate the course, how to use the private Facebook group that comes with it. Module 1 is why blogging is so important, and I'll talk through visitor engagement and time on site and how that matters. I've already talked a little bit today about increasing site authority and ranking, improving expert status and traffic attraction based on long-tail keywords. Module 2, we're going to talk about proper site structure. There's a lot of folks that are really going to benefit from this, how your blog and your website work together. So There, we're going to get into the nitty gritty on navigation ease with blog structure, how you make that happen on your site. We're going to even talk about platforms, okay? The pros and cons of WordPress, Squarespace, Wix, Weebly, HTML, and therapy sites. We're going to talk about all these platforms that are highly used in our industry. We're going to show you how to tell if your site structure needs improvement, talk to you about placement of blog posts for highest engagement. We're going to walk you through creating categories in WordPress and Squarespace and creating blog posts in WordPress and Squarespace. Okay. Module 3, determining what to blog about. FAQs and subtopics of your specialties. Talk you through a bunch of tools, not just the keyword planner, but how to use Google Autocomplete, BuzzSumo, etc. We have some other tools. And how to create this blog plan that I talked about. We're going to provide you a template so that you can actually have this blog plan with up to 100 potential blog posts that you could write. And anytime you go to sit down on your special day and your time slot to do your blogs, you're going to be able to just pull up that template, go, I feel like writing about this today. So there you go. Off you go. And you're writing, okay? Module 4 is going to talk about writing an engaging blog post, how to create a strong title, the tools and resources that we use for title creation. We're going to give you that. Body content, the type of blog posts, when to use which type, length and formatting. You do want to use bullets and subheaders and white space so it's readable. How to choose images and where to get them. How to write with a personal connection. Internal linking, okay, that's really important. That helps a lot, and we're going to talk to you about how to do that. We're going to talk to you about adding a call to action at the end of your blog post. And again, more detail on proper use of categories and tags. You're actually going to be able to see us do that. Module 5, optimizing your blog posts. This is huge. Most people don't do it. They don't understand how to do it, so we're going to show you us doing it live, okay, on video. Here's how you do it. Here's how you get this in the headline and in the content, and how you do the meta and the title, and H1 tag, image optimization, etc. Okay, the whole shebang. Then Module 6, we're going to talk in detail about promoting your blog posts, how you go about sending it to your email list. We're actually going to show you, okay? It's going to be really easy. Posting on social media properties, how we do it, exactly how we do it. Posting in social media groups. We're even going to talk about paid advertising of blog posts on Facebook. And this neat thing, turning blog posts into videos. There's this really cool tool out that was just released like last week. And I've used it already, and it's pretty sweet. So that's going to be something that I think you guys are going to be excited about as well. Module 7 is monitoring your blogging success, okay? And that's where we're going to look at social media engagement, email open rates, Google Analytics data, tracking your rankings, and ultimately holding yourself accountable, staying motivated, okay? How we go about doing that. So lots of information. 8 video modules, and let me just say that these video modules, each one, some of them could have up to 20 different videos in them, so there's a ton of information in this course. There's also a private Facebook group so that you can post your assignments there, ask questions, get our support. Both Megan and I will be in there all the time, okay? There's going to be great group support as well from other therapists who are in the course to keep you on track. And this course is going to begin on October 6th, okay? So it's not going to start until October 6th. We have a number of conferences we're going to between now and then, and we just want to make sure that we have enough time to finish it up perfectly, and so we're not going to start it until October 6th. You will have lifetime access to this course. Now, the thing to know is that things change online. You probably know that already. But, the SEO approaches could change over time. Certainly, social media promotional opportunities change over time. And so, the tools for doing research, for promoting, for all sorts of different things, those are going to change over time. So we will keep this course updated. You will have lifetime access to it, even as it's updated. We'll let you know. We'll send you an email saying, hey, we just added a new video on this new tool in Module 5, and so you'll be able to go check it out, okay? You'll also have permanent access to the private Facebook group for the course members. So just know that you don't have to be in a rush. You can always go back and revisit something when you need to revisit it. All right, so what is this course worth? Well, you have seen the return on investment that other therapists have received by investing in blogging. Basically, their practices have exploded, so they're pretty happy that they did it. If you really learn how to do this, you can totally rock blogging. Now, I want to give you an example, though, of paid blogging. Okay, we have a paid blogging option ourselves. A lot of therapists pay us to blog for them. If they do that, and we blog once a week for them doing SEO, our charge is $309 a month. Okay, $309 a month. So, that's over $3,600 a year. Okay, in blogging costs for 4 blog posts a month with SEO. Now, our nearest competitor is another blogging site. These guys are growing like crazy. Blogmutt is the name of them. It's kind of an interesting name. Whatever. But anyway, they would charge $489 a month for the same thing that we're doing. Okay? And I just want you to get a sense of what this is worth. Knowing how to do this, what this is worth. Okay? It's significant in terms of business value. The price for this course is a one-time charge of $497. Okay? It's a 5-week, 8-module course. One-time charge of $497, or we've broken it up into 2 payments of $267. Now, here's the part that we have never done before. This is it's pretty neat. It's pretty fun. I want to see what happens with it. But we're going to do something new, and that is that we are going to offer a 50% off pricing. Because mainly we know that blogging is probably the best thing that you can do to continue to grow your practice and have such a stable practice. If you have tons of blog posts on your site, you don't have to worry about ups and downs. You're going to be fine, okay? We want to teach as many therapists as possible how to blog correctly. And so we are offering 50% off the price of this course if you share the course with 5 of your colleagues, okay? You just have to share the fact that we have it. So all they have to do is sign up for the information. They do not have to buy for you to get 50% off, okay? You just have to let them know about it, and they need to sign in to look at the information. You will get an email each time one of your colleagues signs up for the info, all right? That's how it works, and I'm going to show you how that works. So if you go to our page, counselingwise.com/blogging course for therapists, hyphenated. Each word has a hyphen between it. Blogging course for therapists. You're going to see that you can just make that one payment and buy it now, or you can sign up for the 2 payment option of $267, or you have the option of getting the course for 50% off by clicking that big yellow button that's on that page. Get 50% off our blogging course. Click here to learn how. Okay? When you click that, you're going to be taken to a page that says, want to get Counseling Wise's Blogging for Therapists, the complete course for 50% off. And then at the bottom of that, it's going to show you all these different modules. Okay, this whole thing is talking to you about the last module. And it's going to have this click here. When you click here on that button, you're going to go to this page, which says enter your name and email address below so we can send you information on getting 50% off our blogging course. Put in your name, put in your email, click here, and it is going to then send you this email. All right, and this email is going to say you're signed up. Here's how you get 50% off. And, thanks for signing up, yada, yada, yada. Here's how it works. And you share it with 5 colleagues. Obviously we want you to share it with other therapists in private practice. And then it's going to give you a URL that you share below. Now, once you continue to share that with people, then what's going to happen is that they're going to go sign up, and you're going to continually get emails. So the first thing is you're going to get, congratulations, you now have 1 point. And then one of your friends signs up to see about it. Congratulations, you now have 2. Congratulations, you now have 3. All right. And so this is the email you're going to get. And it's going to tell you only need 2 more to unlock the 50% discount code. All right. And then it's going to continue to give you your little link here so you can keep sharing it with people. And then you're going to get your you're going to get an email that gives you the code so that you can go buy it for 50% off. All right. So again, the options to buy this are just one payment of $497 or two payments of $267, or get 50% off. So you get the entire course for $248.50. All right. 5-week course, 8 modules for less than $250. And that is the page there. All right. So that is, we're really excited to have this course. We've had tons of people asking to teach them how to do all this stuff so that they can be really self-sufficient and they can grow their practice and get all this information that we have on how to do it the right way. So I wanted to share all that with you, and I also still want to tell you that if there are any questions that you had regarding blogging that came up, please go ahead and put them in the comments box below. We will answer your questions. Make sure you get what you need here. I'm again sorry that the live webinar didn't work and I couldn't just take your questions in real time, but we are offering this option for you to ask your questions below, and then we'll make sure to get back with you, answer those questions in the comments area or on the YouTube channel. Okay? So thanks so much for coming. I hope that you're as excited about this as I am, and feel free to go start sharing that and get your colleagues to know about it, and let's all go jump into that blogging course together and rock it. Okay? All right, Becky DeGrossa with Counseling Wise, over and out. Thanks a lot and have a great day. Bye-bye.